Hey guys, and welcome to My Life, My Journey podcast. On this week's episode, we have Dr. Robb Kelly, PhD, the recovery expert. He was born in Manchester, England. He's now living in Texas, in the United States, where he runs his recovery to addiction. Please put your hands together and get ready for Dr. Robb Kelly. Let's get into it. This podcast isn't to be used to act as a substitute for mental health counselling, and I am not a therapist in any way, shape or form. I'm just here giving you ways in which I dealt with my mental health. Welcome everybody to this week's episode of My Life, My Journey podcast, and on today's episode we have a very, I'll say the most amazing bloke on here. He's from Manchester, and well, he is the recovery expert. It's Dr. Robb Kelly. He was born in Manchester, England, as I've said. He grew up in a family of musicians and developed a strong love for music, as I did, as everybody knows. I used to like singing and rapping. And he was performing at an early age of 9. He actually went to, is it Abbey Road Studios then, Rob? Where you went to?
Yeah, as we know, is where the Beatles made famous. So I was a session musician there for about 3 years, that put me through college. But I played with John, Bowie, Queen, all the guys there. You know, for those guys who don't know what a session musician is, it's when the record company or a studio, when the band get, let's say Oasis, they start releasing songs, they get upfront money. Then when the first paycheck comes in, most people go out and get wasted, and they lose like 6 months of their life. So I'm the guy they bring in to lay down tracks that you think is the bass player from Oasis. This is not the one. Just saying, that's what a session musician does. So yeah, I enjoyed that, loved it absolutely. That's where my cocaine and alcoholism kicked off real big though. But hey, good experience.
Part of the life, isn't it? I think I heard Elton John speaking with Piers Morgan about that, about different addictions, just to keep you awake, really, isn't it? The need of the job kind of thing.
Well, I was college most of the day, and then I'd get called into to Abbey Road about 11 o'clock till 5 a.m. So, I try and eat and be good during the day, but bang the cocaine at night time on speed to keep awake to do the session. So it was just one of them crazy things that was always meant to end up me being homeless, and that's what happened. Yeah,
I mean, so for the listeners here, Rob obviously does recovery coaching due to addiction, and he's got an amazing book that's out at the moment if you want to go and get it. If I'm right here, it's Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. Is that right, Rob?
That's it. It's out there, guys. It's only $9 on Amazon. All the money goes back out into the community. We don't keep any of that money. If you buy it and you don't like it on Amazon, send me a message. I'll refund your money. It's not about the money. Exactly. It's just about the story. And if you're in the USA, by the way, guys, and you need a copy signed free, just send me a message. I'll send Ashley at robkelly.com a message. I will send you one out free of charge.
Tell you what, I wish I was in the USA again now. I could have got one signed.
I'm going to send you one personally, man.
So yeah, this is Rob. Rob, do you want to tell your story to the listeners then, where it all started for you, and that epiphany that you had, that moment in that shop as well that sent hairs at the back of my neck? I think it's very powerful, and I believe there's a lot of listeners here.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Hey guys, my name's Dr. Robb. I have a PhD in psychology and a PhD in behavioral science. I'm one of the top 5 in the US addiction doctors. So I've worked for Harvard University. I'm on TV, radio, books, all that stuff. I'm the go-to guy for all A-listers and the famous people. This is the guy to come to. Not bad for a homeless guy from Manchester, Moss Side, Manchester. For those people who don't know what Moss Side is like, it's a bit like Beirut with lights. That's about the only way I can really describe it, So I took my first drink at the age of 9 years old on stage in Liverpool. I remember it as if it was yesterday. I was playing in the musical Family. My auntie and uncle were musicians. So we had this trio. And I was nervous in this huge event in Liverpool. And when I went on the first time, for the first 45 minutes, I froze a couple of times. So when I come off stage, my uncle Peter, who was the guitar player, I was the bass player at the age of 9, gave me a drink of alcohol to get rid of my nerves. And that's what set my alcoholism off. Now, I'm a great believer that alcoholics are born and drug addicts are made. And most addictions from learned behavior, a measurement, and a lack of certain things in our lives, like the dopamine and serotonin brings on a lot of addictions, which we'll go into later. But there was alcoholism in my family. So I'm born this way. I'm born with 3 parts of my brain that differ from any other addiction in the world. So when I took my first drink, all bets were off, so to speak. So I carried on drinking Friday, Saturday, Sundays when the band was out playing in working men's clubs and labor clubs and stuff like that. I was on the cabaret scene, with a lot of posh people. We played, two 45-minute spots within 100 miles of Manchester. And that's what we did, my drinking was amazing. You see, when I took that first drink, Jermaine, it looked like I took a first mouthful and it was like winning the lottery for me. Now, I asked friends who my age, when did you take your first drink? They go, 10, 11. Was it like, oh, it was horrible, I spat it out? Not me. When I took it, it changed me completely. Like confidence, I was just amazing. So I knew I found something that was going to serve me for the rest of my life. There's no doubt about that. So every time we'd go, I'd take a couple of swigs, go on stage. It was great. Did that all through middle school, as you say over here, and high school, secondary school. Yeah. And then, it become like 3 or 4 days a week. And then I joined the Freemasons. I can be open about it over here. The Freemasons in England, as you know, very secretive. You don't know where any of the lodges are. In America, it's a bit different. Everyone advertises it, wears rings openly. But back in the day in the Freemasons, back in England, it was very, very hush-hush. And a lot of high-profile people, police commissioned and stuff within the Freemasons. Now, it freaked how it happened because I was a musician and our friend's father used to belong to the lodge in Manchester, and they never had a keyboard player. They could never find one. They were all old people, and they were that desperate for a 50th or 100th anniversary that they asked me to come in and play the organ, for like 20 minutes. And they had to make me a Freemason to do that, to actually get inside the lodge. So I was quite a work through, got my apron and everything. But from there came all sorts of contacts. I got in Oxford University only because of that Freemason connection. One of our lodge members knew a high-ranking police officer in London, the Met, who knew someone high-ranking in the Oxford University, and that's how I got in. So I remember when I was drinking, I must have been about, 15, 16, I can't remember. But I saw an advertisement in for a bass player, a session bass player for a place called Strawberry Studios in Manchester. If you remember, you guys in England are brilliant because I say it over here, they go, what? 10cc on it. So 10cc on it. But what happened, I remember going in, Jermaine, for my first session, and they put me 3 sets of music. And he said, are you ready on click? And I said, yeah, sure. Played it. I played these 3, stopped for 15 seconds, click again. I played another bass line. Now, we used to get about £5 each when we traveled about 50 miles in a $2,000 car with 50 grand's worth of equipment. You know how that goes when you're gigging. But they gave me like £150. I'm like, what? So there's my future. I was no longer going to get up a stupid time, go on the road, come home at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I started to do session work. And then I obviously saw, I think it was Music Melody or Melody Maker or something, an ad in there for a bass player, session bass for Abbey Road. And I went for it. Bunch of auditions, got the job, and put myself through college, and everything started to pick off. I thought that was it. It was amazing, but it wasn't, because I was open to this world of alcohol and drugs and women and all that stuff. And I finished college, went in the police force because most of the Freemason guys were police officers. I didn't last that long. They fined me for being drunk, and then I started my own business and got wealthy, and then got married, some children and stuff like that. And then it all went wrong. There's a lot of things that went wrong in about 3 or 4 years that was just horrendous. I mean, when I share it, I still got upset. But I married this amazing girl, and we had 2 children. Because I knew I was drinking too much, and I thought that, having 1 child would solve the drink problem, And now I'm a father kind of thing. I've got to act responsibly. But I remember saying to my wife when she was due, we rushed to the hospital, and in the way in the car, I said, something, when the first baby's born, I'm going to never drink again. I'm a full-time father. So when we got to the freaking hospital, the baby came, and then Mum had her, then she passed into me, And I hold my baby, I kissed her forehead, I handed it back, and I took a Bible out of my bag, and I wasn't really religious, but I put it on the bed. And when the doctor was there, I asked him to come in, and I swore on the Bible in front of the doctor and my wife that I'd never drink alcohol again. 20 minutes later,
moment then.
20 minutes later, I'm drunk.
Yeah, but that's a hard task though for you as well, though, isn't it? Because you want to wet the baby's head, don't you?
Yeah. I try and explain to people over here that back in my day, I was born at 61. Back in my day, if you didn't drink, nobody trusted you because you finished work, went straight to the pub with all the lads. If you was, oh, don't drink today, like, what, have you got a dose or something? What's going on? That was our way
of dealing with things, weren't it? Yes. If we had a hard day, instead of taking it back home to the missus and the kids, we'll take it out at the pub, won't we? Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, that's how my parents used to do it. My mum and dad were born in 1967. So, like, my mum's Irish, from an Irish background, so we know how that goes with drinking.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy, it's just, but that's what happened to me. And, after, I don't know, a year or so, I have a second baby. Well, that was it, Jermaine. I wasn't going to touch it from the second baby. Same routine, only I took 2 Bibles to the hospital. The baby was born, held it back to mum, both hands on the Bible in front of a doctor, and I never drink again. Worst 14 minutes of my life, because that's all I lasted. And it just went on from there, and going back to that house, I mean, I was earning a lot of money, which masked my alcoholism, because we had the big house and the brand new cars, any 12-month Mercedes and stuff. But I would fall down the stairs, nearly killed my baby, falling on her. I would, early ages, 1 and 2, I used to leave them in cinemas while I'd come out and go for a drink at the nearest liquor store or off license back in England. I left him in some dangerous situations, but one night, this is how bad my drinking got. One night, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, man. I needed a drink badly. So I went downstairs, and I knew there was some vodka in the kitchen. So I was looking for the vodka frantically, and finally I found it. I remember taking the bottle out, and I put it on the side for a second in the kitchen. And this is madness. I turned around to get freaking crystal glass from the cupboard. Like, I'm not going to drink out the bottle. I got this expensive crystal glass, and by the time I turned round, my wife had followed me down, and she snatched the bottle off the counter, and she said to me, "I think you've had enough." Now, when I think about that, she was probably right. I've been drinking all night. I've been drunk for at least 3 days, and I'm due to go into a board meeting. Instead of saying, "Thank you, Mrs. Kelly," and walking upstairs back to sleep, I took a kitchen knife out and I stabbed her 3 times. Then I took my bottle off her and I finished the bottle. When I finished the bottle, I called a taxi. When the taxi got there, I called the police and the ambulance, and I fled to Spain. And I never come back until they dropped the charges of attempted murder. But when I got back, Jermaine, she had all the cases. She didn't die, obviously. All the cases packed. And when I got home, she said, "I love you to the day I die, Rob. You're not going to kill our children." And she left me in this house on my own. And I was so angry, Jimmy. It's like, I used to work the doors and everything, semi-pro bodybuilder, martial arts. Who the fuck are you? Nobody leaves me. Do you know who I am, kind of thing? So I got with my attorney the next day, and I got my kids back. He brought them back the next morning. I gave them a big check at the door, brought them in. Now, I've been about 3 days sober now, because just to travel home and everything. But I put me in front of the TV, Jimmy, and I switched the TV on. I think they were 1 or 3, 2 or 4. I can't remember, but they were around that age. And I went to the kitchen after everything that had happened, guys, everything. I went to the kitchen, and the thought hit my mind, wouldn't it be great to have 1 beer to celebrate my kids coming back? I remember of the beer. 3 days later, when the police kicked the door down, woke me up, there were bottles of vodka strewn over the floor. The 2 kids had not been fed or changed nappies fucking 2 days. And they served me with unfit father papers. As I stumbled to my feet, I got to the door. The police was there. The authorities were there. The child services were there. The child protection, she was there. And mum was there. There was crying. My daughter, ages 3, she was holding mummy's hand as she's walking down the path. And this is what she said to me. First of all, she said, "Daddy, Daddy, please don't go." And then further down the path, she turned around again. And I'm stood at the door crying. And she said, "Daddy, Daddy, please get better." And as they got to the big gate, they opened this big gate at the end of the path. And I remember to the day I died, she turned around one more time and she says, "Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking." I couldn't do it, you know. Couldn't do it for my kids. I couldn't do it for me. 6 or 7 months later, I'd lost the houses, lost the cars, lost my license to practice, lost my kids, I lost everything, and I was homeless. I remember the first day on the street of homelessness going, what the fuck just happened? What happened? And I was lonely. I was on the streets. It was pouring down with rain. And there started a 14-month stretch on the streets. But going back to the point you had just made before, I remember stood outside an off license one morning. And again, guys, you'll know this, being English and in the UK, Americans don't understand this, but I was outside an off license and a news agent about 5 o'clock in the morning. It's snowing. I'm in a string vest and a pair of shorts and a pair of flip-flops, and I am sweating profusely. Now, this guy can't serve alcohol till 10 because he serves newspapers in the morning, but he knows me, man. He opens the door at like 5:15. I sneak in. He closes and locks the door behind me. And for whatever reason, on this one occasion, I put my £10 or whatever it was on the counter, and he knew he'd put the bottle of vodka down. This is what I did on this day. I was shaking. I got headaches. I feel like shit. I know I'm going into the DTs. And I reached out and I grabbed the handle of the bottle, and this was my reaction. The shake, the sickness, the sweat, everything just went instantly. And I remember looking at him, and I looked at the bottle, and I looked back at him, and I went, fuck, it's not about the alcohol. And that's what, when I got back off the streets eventually, that's what set me being absolutely aggressively pursuing what the hell alcoholism and addiction was all about, because people didn't know. And there started my 30-odd years of studying neuroscience, the brain, what alcoholism really is, because alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism, the same with drug addiction. It's got nothing to do with the actual disease. You know, so then I got into the brain science, and, you know, I realized what's going on. And for the rest of my life since then, 28, 29 I was aggressive. I was very aggressive and cocky, Jermaine, but not because all my life I've been a bodybuilder and everyone was scared of me, but because I knew I had something that the world didn't know. Because you ask someone today like, oh, Uncle Jimmy, he drinks every day, man, he's an alcoholic. Alcoholism is the only self-diagnosed illness in the world. Just because you drink every day do not make you an alcoholic. We have a predisposition passed down from generation to generation. My hypothalamus, my basal ganglia, and my amygdala differ from any other person in the world. So when I take that drink, all bets are off. Nobody knew that before I came across that. You know, it's just like you drink too much, you're an alcoholic. That's not the case. When I knew people that drank more than me, Jermaine, more than me, and they were fine. Yeah. But there was some reason why I couldn't stop, and I need to find out why. I gave my children away. I almost killed my wife. I threw everything down the toilet. I wanted to know why. And all the doctors could freaking tell me is, Rob, I think you should go to AA. I said, yeah, doctor, but what is alcoholism? Oh, you just need to cut down on your alcohol. Alcoholics and abstinence, the freaking choice. When the disease takes over.
That's the problem.
And that's what I want people to know.
I see that a lot, especially within the doctor system at the moment. They want you to do certain things, but they don't actually understand the actual issue straight down to the point. Like, you were acting like you said, like, well, you wasn't Rob anymore. When you was under that drug of drink, because in a normal everyday to-day life, there's no way you would have mistreated your kids or tried to hurt your wife. Not a chance. So that there is telling me it's brain. There's a connection in the brain. And once you get that spark, i.e. the drink, it's almost like orgasmic, so to speak, I'd imagine. And you're in that sort of world. Yeah.
And I like to find out the science behind that. So I found it out. We've done loads of research, scientific research, it's hospital research. The hypothalamus in everyone's brain when they're born, it's a fight or flight part of the brain. Listen, you're not going to hear this anywhere else, guys, okay? This is my white paper that I fucking struggled to write because I knew there was something wrong. So the hypothalamus in babies, when we're born, we have it, part of the brain. It's a fight or flight part of the brain. It tells us when to run, when to hide. Other parts do. But it also tells us, being survival part, to drink water and eat food to survive. It tells us that from birth. That's why babies put their hand down the mouth when they're hungry or they cry because the belly hurts. That's the hypothalamus saying you need to eat and drink to stay alive, okay?
Yeah.
On a certain point of the alcoholic's journey, this doesn't happen with any other addiction, the hypothalamus suddenly changes and tells the alcoholic to drink alcohol only. That's why, if you're an alcoholic and you're listening to this, that's why you know days or weeks without freaking water or food. Because the part of the survival brain is telling me to drink alcohol. I'm allergic to the ethanol in alcohol, man. When I take that, this starts first a mental obsession. I'll get away with it. It'll be okay. It'll be different this time. It'll never be fucking different. But my brain tells me it's going to be okay. Nobody's going to find out. Now, when I take the drink, this has done its job. Now the allergy takes over, which means for me, I cannot stop unless I pass out or I die. And both of them have happened to me on a regular basis, by the way. I tried to commit suicide 7 times on the streets, and on 2 occasions it worked. I was dead, and they brought me back to life. And I hated them then for that, Jermaine, because I couldn't live with alcohol and I couldn't live without it.
What? Mate, the hairs are sticking up on the back of my head. I'm sorry that you've gone through that, and it's hard to find words, Rob, to be honest with you, mate. It feels like you've gone through the mill and back as well as the family as well. I mean, how are the kids today and the ex-wife? Is it an ex-wife now, or you're remarried, or...?
My ex-wife is remarried. My daughter, who was 1 when they took him off me, I've never seen in 30-something years. But listen, guys, for those people that are struggling like I was, guys, I was estranged from my daughter for 30 years. She never talked to me. She never seen me. She was back in England. And then 4 years ago, there was a messenger on my Facebook when I got up in the morning. It was my daughter, Charlotte Kelly. And she said, I want to see you, Dad. I've just seen you on TV in England, blah, blah, blah. And she said, I've got something to tell you, Dad. I need you to come over. And we'd not seen her. So I flew over there, man, me and my wife, current wife. And I remember standing outside the door and all that shit came. You're not good enough. What sort of father are you? Don't deserve to be here. And before I knocked, she opened the door. And we fell into each other's arm. We cried. We laughed. And she said, I got something to tell you. So she walked me into her. She walked me into her front room and handed me my 3-month-old granddaughter.
Oh, man.
And it was right there, Jermaine, that I was doing something good. It was right there, that God said to you, good job, Rob, you're doing good. And now we sent her back to school, and now she leads my Manchester office in the UK as my lead therapist.
Oh, brilliant. That's a nice full story, full circle of what had gone on and where you'd been, and to be the man you are today as well. I mean, look, for the listeners out there, we know Moss Side, right? It's one of the hardest places to live, especially as a youngster. And growing up, it's like Brixton, it's like Birmingham. There's all these areas, and Moss Side, let's just say not a lot of people get out and make something of themselves, Rob, as well. So you've got to give yourself that round of applause to yourself as well, because I think you're an amazing bloke. You've done some amazing things as well. It was just unfortunate, if I'm being honest, for this uncle to give you that confidence drink. We've all been there though, Rob. That's the thing. I've been there. When I wanted to go up on stage and sing, and someone would say to you, have a beer. I remember my first beer. It was one of those little tiny beers. They're like that, little glass ones with a little lid. Yeah. And my granddad gave me one. I must admit, I didn't like it, but my brother liked it. And he ended up becoming an alcoholic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
So what you've just said there was bang on right.
Yeah. So on the side, I then moved to the racecourse. Now, when I say the racecourse over here, nobody knows what I mean. But if you're in and around Manchester, you know what the racecourse is, man. Nobody gets off there. Nobody makes anything off there. There's only me and 2 people. I can't remember the first guy, but the second time he played for Manchester City. Can't remember his name. And another guy that became an actor. He's over here with Ricky Gervais on series. There's only 3 of us that got off the estate. And how many thousands of people on the estate? Only 3 of us that made something of ourselves. But it's extent anyway to, when you've got millions and millions of dollars in the bank, you'd have to worry about it, and you drive expensive cars and live in $1 million houses like we do. It's like, I kind of deserve that because A, I give most of our money away, and B, it's been hard, Jermaine. It's been a lonely journey for me. It's like people from the race course, when I came over here, didn't want to know me because now I was on TV every day over here. And the people over here had money, didn't want to know me because I was from the race course. So it's a really shitty part for the last 15 years. It's been, I don't have any friends today. I don't have anybody to call up and go, hey, I need you right here. I'm dying. I don't have anybody because I've been in that. It's crazy.
A lot of the times as well, though, Rob, you've got to look at that and think if they're not, if people turn their back on you, they're not worth knowing anyway, mate. Mm. The way I look at it, it's one of them things. I mean, where you've come from, I'm blown away with your story massively. And to get to America, so what happened there? What made you go to the States and start over there? What was that like? Was that a big, massive change for you, or was it literally just change of scenery to get away from all this, like drink or whatever? I need to recover properly by being away from where you were born and raised, kind of thing.
Most of the stuff I went through were freak accidents, as I thought at the time. I believe in God. I believe there's a God up there, and He's been looking after me from day one. So I'm on the internet when it first came out. All that was on the internet really was chat rooms. So I got chatting to this.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
MSN.
I was in the house with another guy. Was living on the dole. You guys will know what that means as well. We were living in poverty, and I started chatting to this girl, and I told her what I'd been through and what I was doing and speaking and stuff. And she convinced the church over here in Dallas, Texas, to bring me over for 3 weeks to do talks with their youth ministry. So I came over for 3 weeks. That was 18 years ago. I've never been back. And Texas has been within. I didn't want to go back, and I don't know why. But within 3 weeks of being here, I signed a DVD deal, and I got $100,000 for that. And then just opened my practice over here. And now we have 5 offices around the world. But he's a freak, Jermaine. He's just a freak. How I ended up here.
It's nice that it's happened, mate. I mean, I'm not the most well-off person. I'm a truck driver by trade. I just drive a truck up and down the country. I'm in Manchester quite a lot. I'm up Liverpool quite a lot. I do containers, so always in the ports. But if a deal like that come my way, mate, obviously I'll be looking, right, kids, come on, let's go, and we'll do it. But you're very, very similar to the way my dad did it. My dad, he moved to America back in, I think it was about 1998. But then he brought the woman back over to the UK, got married, then went back, and he's with a different woman now. He's had 3 wives so far, and I'm the oldest of 9 kids. But yeah, the first woman he met was on a chat room on Yahoo chat rooms or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, and then he went out to Tucson, Arizona, is where he stayed. And then he's gone upstate now to Indiana and Michigan and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But he's never come back either. So there must be something in the water over there to keep you there.
I know. And it was, like you say, America. Well, America, Texas has been good to me. I've been to most states because I work now. I work with high-profile people, movie stars, footballers, stuff like that. And I get to most states traveling. But Texas is where my heart is. I became an American citizen about a year and a half ago only.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, it was a really big thing for me. I love this.
I bet it was.
Yeah.
And Texas as well. So you're only around the corner from Mr. Rogan then in his studios, because I watch a lot of him.
I played on his podcast in December.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to meet him.
Stuff, all them people that you see, all them superstars. Yeah, I mix with all them guys, and
mate,
apparently. So yeah,
living the dream. Get to go to the spaceship. That's this new comedy club, isn't it? The spaceship.
Yeah. But it's mate. I have a saying over here because when I was homeless, I remember Christmas Eve walking past these houses. It was snowing and I was freezing. I had no money or nothing. And I looked in these houses and I saw these families sat around the table having dinner or tea, Christmas tea. And I remember saying to God, if you're up there, like all I want is one day doing that with a family, And from there to where I am today is humanly impossible. It really is. But I always say, today I'm living the dream instead of dreaming of living, because that's what I used to do on the streets. I used to dream of living again. And I knew it would never happen. And now I'm living that dream.
It must be hard. I mean, I went down to London. I did an episode. Me and my friend, we went down to see The Weeknd perform at Wembley, and we was basically homeless for about 6 hours. Yeah. We weren't homeless. I'm not trying to take anything away from people that were actually living on the streets, but our bus basically said, "We're not taking you. We're going straight Glasgow now. We ain't going to go up to the Midlands." So we had to wait. I had to, you know, it was 1 a.m. I'm calling around all my friends, but obviously it's Friday night. Everyone's on the juice. So they can't come all the way down to collect it. But luckily my brother was okay and he come and got us. But it was cold, man. So for you to do that, I mean, it was only the other day I gave a meal to a homeless guy. My son did it as well. And it turned out it's the same homeless guy we both gave this meal deal to, because I just felt for him and I thought, mate, you need a meal. I didn't acknowledge him on the way in. I saw him, but I didn't make eye contact with him because I wanted it to be, look, I'll come out. I don't want you to get down to that level to beg me for something. I want to just give it you as a gesture, if you know what I mean. And I come out, there's your meal, mate. Enjoy it. And he looked shocked because it was like, well, I didn't even speak to you on the way in. It's not that. It's that I noticed you. You might not have noticed me. I noticed you, kind of thing. So, what would you say to other people then in that situation, Rob? That is perhaps, you know, coming out of university, because you went to quite a prestigious university in England, didn't you? Like one of the biggest.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Was it Oxford?
Oxford, yeah. Here's the deal, guys. It's like you have to really study the mind as much as I've studied it, because anything's possible. And when I say that, I mean anything is possible. So the mind is energy. The mind is power and energy, which connects with a universe or an energy around the world. Period. It's a proven science. So the mind sits inside the brain. So there's a saying out there called mind over matter. The mind, the brain is matter. That's what it is. It's like this. When you make your mind up to do something and you know the technique to go around that, you can achieve that. So if you're at home, guys, and if you're listening to this now and you were in the place that I was, man, I'm telling you, start dialogue with somebody, because that's not your lot in life. The reason why I sit here today and look back in my life, everything I went through was like a semester at Harvard University, man. The stuff I learned to do what I do today. And that's all it is. Nothing is permanent. Everything is temporary. So if you're sat at home and you're thinking you're not worth anything, you're never going to amount to anything, first of all, I want to apologize to you, because somebody's put that there. We're born with $1 million minds. Stop fucking hanging around 10-cent minds. Okay? Get out of that. Find your $1 million mind people and start hanging with them. If you hang around 9 depressed people, you will become the 10th. If you hang around 9 successful people, you will become the 10th. It's a law of attraction. It's physics. You know, it's science. It's just true. There's no doubt about it. You know, you will pick up the mirroring part of the brain, or pick up with the people you hang around with. So show me your friends. I'll show you your future. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's that powerful line I've heard of. If you do surround yourself by negativity, you become it.
Yeah.
You start living it, don't you? Like crabs in a barrel kind of thing. You know, the minute you're trying to get ahead or whatever, they try and bring you back down. You ain't going nowhere. That's literally been my life, Rob. Everything I try and do, it's always, you're never going to do it. You're rubbish. Like, even to the point of this podcast, people were laughing like, "Oh, you won't do it. You won't do any good." And I've said it many times. I can't believe the guests that have come on here, because of what this is as well. It's about mental health. It's about addictions. It's about what people are going through, and it's about raising that awareness. So everybody that's listening might think, "Oh, that's me.
Yeah,
that's me." Right? What do I do? Yeah. First thing, no one's going to knock on your door. You've got to do it for yourself.
I love that.
You've got to do it for yourself. And what I found, I had to go out, get it done myself, and I was on the waiting list for about 9 months with the NHS trying to get the help I needed. So what did I do? Did I sit on my laurels? No. I was scouring the internet, looking at things like, what can I do? So, and there was things on there saying, try meditation. So I did it. I'm doing a bit of meditation now, do a gratificational journal. I'm doing that. I'm trying to self-medicate that way. Now, others can self-medicate, be it drugs or drink. I didn't go that route. And I'll be honest with you, Rob, you know why I didn't go that route? Because I can't afford to go that route, because it's too expensive to go that route. And I've got kids that kind of need me to stay dad. And my missus needs me to stay as I am, so to speak. So for me, it was get my head in the books kind of thing. And that's why I think I look up to you quite a lot. From the man you were, I've read your story. I've watched a few of your podcasts, and you just blow me away. All these people that you've helped as well. I mean, what is this recovery program that you do for people that's in the States? And is there an opportunity for people from perhaps the rest of the world that can log on to like live kind of treatments? Is that available with you?
Yeah, well, we kind of only do 98% of our work is telehealth. which basically means it's online. It's on Zoom or something like that. We do 1 hour a day in 90 days. That's all we do. We guarantee our work. If you relapse after, we'll repay money back to you. But that's what we do today. Amongst other things, I have the Robb Kelly Foundation. We just started. I do a few other things, but this is my main deal. I don't get involved in the money side of mine, But listen, if I can do it, anybody can do it. For the older guys out there, or go and ask your dad. There was a notorious gang in Manchester called the Quality Street Gang. I belong to that.
I've heard of that. Yeah. I've heard of that.
Yeah, me and Dougie Flood. Yeah, I was in that.
Yeah.
They got. I worked outdoors because I was a bodybuilder and fighter. But I remember one night we finished at Friday's nightclub, and a bunch of doormen after sit down drinking. And I was doing something, and I came back in, and somebody said, "I'm in fine." And I went, "Whoa." And I'm like, "What are you talking about, guys? But I don't want anything to do with this. Just count me out." And I went. So like a month later, an armoured van was hit in Manchester, and I knew they'd done it. The next day, man, all these doormen come to the club in Porsches and Rolls Royces. I'm like, "Guys, are you?" And they all got locked up. So I've been in places where if I hadn't left the race course when I did to go down to Oxford and get educated, if I had that freak thing through the Freemasons and not happened, I would be dead today, because all my friends have died of overdose of heroin, and crack cocaine even. But I was in that. I was the man on the race course. Nobody broke into my house, nobody, because they knew that I would beat anybody down, man. So people stayed away from burgling our houses, but I would eventually have got into that shit. And I would be dead by now. There's no doubt about that. So it seems like all the time that I was always meant to be here in San Antonio, Texas, to do what I do today. But yeah, it's we mainly work. What we try and do is we work with the rich and famous, and then we kind of take a portion of that money and we go to the guys like me and you, the working men guys, and we subsidize heavily if they want to go through the program. Because when I wanted help, there was no help for me. And when I had money, I went to the Priory. I went there for like a few months, drank on the way home, wasted time. But yeah, we give a lot of money back. About 150,000. Me and my wife get back into the world, back into Manchester, back into England, America, Texas. That's our deal back. And everybody works for me has to have a pro bono client. So like 25% of our work is pro bono, because it's all about
amazing.
Jermaine, it's not about look at me. I've got millions and millions of dollars. I drive stupid cars. My car's worth about 200 grand. And the only why I say that is that I'm from a guy from the race course. So if I can do this, I swear to God, man, anybody can do it. But it comes down to the belief. It comes down to how powerful you really are. Because most people going through normal stuff, childhood trauma, divorces, we lose our identity. We lose how powerful we really are. And when we find our identity, you can do anything in the world. It's the biggest secret ever. Believe
down,
you can do it. But people don't believe it. I can't just believe it. I can't. Yeah, you can. Most of them. What I found from the company, Jermaine, is the higher I went up in a company, the more idiots I came across. It was winging it. And I was looking up to them dickheads. I'm like, what? So I started doing that.
Yeah, but see, I found that as well from watching like TV shows and that, and you see there's a lot of personalities on there, and I'm like, are you actually like this in real life or what? But yeah, I think people do get diluted quite down, but I also think it's because if you're from a deprived area, you've got nobody helping you out. You've got nobody giving you any opportunities or options. The only if you're in a deprived area, what's the option? I need money Friday night. How do I get money? Well, no one's going to employ me. So what do I do? Right, there's a car over there. Let's get a screwdriver or a spark plug. We'll pop the window, take the stereo, quick 30 quid on the street value. And that's where you go. I mean, you know yourself, if you was a doorman at the racecourse, you understand about the Essex boys, the rise of the foot soldier with the Land Rover murders and stuff like that. Once you're in that life, and this is what I'm saying to listeners out there, if you're in that life, to get where Rob's got to today is very difficult, because there's only normally two ways out, and that's dead or becoming top boy, and luckily just being protected heavily, isn't it? So to be where you are today is amazing.
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? I used to be ashamed of what I had, Jermaine, when I started getting wealthy on TV. I used to be ashamed. It took me a long time to realize that, A, I don't give a shit anymore. I don't care what I wear. I don't care what I look like. I don't care what biggest house, crazy watches. I don't care. And it took me a long time. And it might sound stupid, but it took me a long, because the race course boy would always kick in. Who do you think you are? These guys don't want to see you. But if they found out who you really were from the race course, what are you doing, Rob? crazy, you piece of shit. All that stuff that I got told as a kid, man. So it's hard, to do that change. But what's even harder is being at my level and keeping your feet on the ground. That's sometimes hard. I'm putting off a set of a TV show called The Doctors Round Here. They fly you over there. You have chauffeurs for the day. And my wife, who's an amazing person, I came off, and this was only about 6 years ago. I came off the set, and I said to Janet, I don't know why I was in the mood. Where the fuck's my chauffeur? Well, she slapped me across the face. This is a timid girl, country girl, and she said, "Don't you ever say that again, otherwise me and you are finished." See, I'd walked out. Where's my chauffeur? It's not my chauffeur. The fuck I think it's not mine. They were glad enough to give me that for the day. So every time I raise a little bit, with my ego and my cockiness, I get slapped down by the people around me. I need them people around me, Jermaine, because it's really hard when when you've got everything you want and everything you need. It's really hard, but the best thing around it is giving back, treating people really nice. Just what? Yeah. If you go out with somebody who thinks he's somebody, watch how he speaks to the waitress or the waiter.
Oh, I've seen it. I mean, that's why it's hard for me to relate with that, because where we are, I'll be honest with you, Rob, we don't have a lot, so we just stay humble to what we've got, if you know what I mean, because I know what I've got at the minute, and I try and protect that the best way I can. But I do understand, because you've, since 9 years old, the brain's already in that addictive mode. So the minute you start getting addicted to having that thing, you want more respect. It's not really you, it's the brain. I understand what you're going through. So then you get to that point and that power, a little bit like the President Trump thing. Like I say something, you lot bow, kind of thing. So I do understand that. I don't blame that on you personally. It's perhaps just a neuro, something in there that's telling you I'm entitled to that, like an entitlement. But you're surrounded by the right people that slap you back down and say, "Oi, Rob, no, stop it." That's what you need. That's good people, because then they're honest and trustworthy, and that's the things you need in life.
I mean, you've got to surround yourself by them people. I have to. I'm a human being after all. I treat all my staff well. I overpay my staff, especially the girls out there. They get paid $100 an hour, $150 sometimes, $300 an hour sometimes. I try and look after people because I know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. I know what it's like. I've been there. And I think most of it as well is having been there.
Exactly, I've been there, yeah.
Yeah, I've been there. It's like, you got to look at you in your big house. Yeah. No. I used to live in Piccadilly Gardens for 14 months. My restroom, toilet, my bathroom, my lounge, and my where I ate, the kitchen was all on one bench, and it's still there today.
That's the hardest thing, man.
Yeah, it is, man. Because sometimes I get up and go, shit. I look at the house sometimes and go, holy shit. I get in my car sometimes, I'm driving, I go, this is. My dad would kill me, Jermaine, if he was alive. He'd go, "You're not paying that much for a car." If he knew how much I pay for this watch, he would come back to life and I'd literally beat me to death. You know what I mean?
You need to treat yourself as well, though, because you have suffered. Yeah, you have suffered on the street, so you have to get those small wins. Else, it's not worth living, because let's face it, in today's society, it's very narcissistic anyway and self-centered. The way the world is, no one cares about anybody else. From what I see on a day-to-day basis, it's me or nothing. You can see it right now by going into a traffic jam. And I promise you, everyone wants to get in front of you because they feel more important to get there. And I'm telling that's where it all starts. And people say to the blue in the face, "I'm not selfish." You are. You want to push in at a line at Alton Towers to get onto that ride first. Yeah. You won't allow people to step. So with me, I'm a flasher. Not in that kind of flash on my headlights. I'll flash. Go on, mate. You go out. Crack on. But then when I have somebody cut across me without saying thank you, please, then I lose my shit. And I say, "Who the you fucking arsehole?" That kind of thing. But then people moan at me for reacting like that. And I'm like, well, courtesy, man. If I've let you out, at least say thank you. Yeah. And that's where I get my anger issues from. So I'm going through CBT at the minute. It starts it starts soon. So I'll be doing my CBT, getting that therapy that I need to calm my stress, my anger, and that kind of thing, because I'll get shouty at people, and it's not me, Rob. It's not me. I'm not an angry person, but I know inside my own head, and that's why I'm looking for that work. And that's what I'll say to people out there: it's never going to knock on your door, the help. It won't. You've got to get up and be willing to do it yourself. And I have seen on your website as well, like you said, and I think this is brilliant, Rob. we were like, we won't take your money for the course unless you really feel like you're going to do it. That's a good message to have, because then that really puts things into perspectives.
Nobody dare do that. I turned Britney Spears down for $1 million about 14 years ago in Dallas, Texas. She'd just come off a gig. I wouldn't work with her. She wasn't ready. Next day, she went out and shaved her head and everything because she was pissed off at me. But no, I'm not going to. I don't play that game anymore. No, I don't know. I remember me when £5 was a lot of money. You know, I sometimes I get wrapped up in, like, I don't know how much milk costs or a gallon of, I don't know how much it's. I have to get back to reality. And I convey with them people. You see, right now, Jermaine, if you say, go out on the streets, what would you do? Would you jump in this office and hang around with the guys in the ballroom, or do you hang around with the drunks sat around the fire and doing their drunks every time, Jermaine? Because they're my people.
But they also drag you back down, though, Rob.
You've got to be careful. I must admit, you've got to be careful that you don't get dragged down. But I like to treat people. You know, I like to just drop them $50 here and there, or $100, just say thank you and stuff like that. But it's a balance.
I was going to say that. Have you ever been up to LA towards the homeless city down there with all the tents and that? Have you helped them out already like that? With
$5,000 about 2 years ago, handing $10 out to every person I came across.
Oh, mate, that's amazing.
It was about 20,000, and we just tenors and wherever we went, all down that big thing. You're seeing all the tent city, they call it.
Yeah.
And they're just handing all this money out. And then often, like Christmas, New Year, Thanksgiving over here, we'll load the car full of sandwiches, and there's a place called Under the Bridge, and we'll go down, and all the homeless are there, and we'll start handing out sandwiches. That's what we do for Christmas lunch. We go down, we help people like that. Because
that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And yet you get thousands of people that will just walk by these guys every day. You know?
I got to tell you a story, Jimmy. There was a pastor over here that went to a new church. I kind of knew him when I was in Dallas. And what he did is there was rumor around a new pastor was starting at this church. But what he did is he went outside like an hour before church opened, and he dressed like a homeless person, and he had a little camp with him. And these people were all Christians. Walked past him, never even looked in, looked down him. He collected about, I don't know, $2, for people coming in. And there was about 600 people in there. So after everybody was sat in, the buzzing was going, he goes round, gets changed, comes back on. And he said, hey, I'm the new pastor, and everyone's applauding. And he said, you haven't seen the homeless man outside? And they went, oh, that was me. How many people helped me as a Christian person? You all walked past me. And that's what I'm all about. When I go in and buy a brand new car from the dealership, I go in torn jeans or a T-shirt with a little bit of a stain. I don't change. It's like, you need to meet me on my level. Don't come to me and look at me. Don't judge me. Don't judge me the way I look. Because I've been here and I've also been down there. Don't you dare judge me. And I went into a Porsche dealership once, and I was scraggy, unshaven. I was out that day. Went in, and this salesman come up, and I said, hey, listen, can I have a look at this 911 Turbo? He's like, oh, well, it's very expensive, sir. I said, yeah, no, it's about 190,000. I just went, I don't think so, sir. So I said, you're stopping me from test drive. Oh, yeah, it's very expensive. I couldn't do it, And his manager walked out. I said to the manager, I said, hey, this guy won't let me test drive this car. And do you know what he did, man? He went back to the thing, he got the keys and said, there you go, sir, you can test drive that car. I took a Black American Express card out and paid for that car, but I made sure that other guy didn't get a commission. How dare you judge me, man?
Because of his ignorance, yeah.
Yes.
Just because the way you look doesn't mean nothing, doesn't mean how rich you are. Look at Bill Gates.
That bugs me. I have a big thing about that. That bugs me, man. I can't be dealing with that shit, No,
we was on about that. A similar situation, not so much buying a car, but it was more like, let's go up next to the traffic lights, right, in this boxed out Nova, but put like a 3-litre engine in it.
Yeah.
Make sure it's all rusty, and then this... Yeah, obviously get how the boy races are. They'll come by in their brand new daddy's BMW, showing off with girls in the back. And I've always pictured, imagine me driving this real little rust kit and then putting my foot down, changing it into gear, and just booting and leaving them off standing. Because what's the word? There's a deceiving, isn't there? Don't always look at somebody and judge them first, because you never know. Never know where that person's been, what that person's got. And there's an old saying as well. It's an Egyptian saying, actually. Keep your candle close to your heart and keep it covered. Because if you keep showing it, there's going to be somebody around that's going to blow your light out. So, You know what I mean? But there is a lot of people out there that do that, but they shouldn't be judging you. I mean, I bet you felt good though, didn't you? Getting that American card, Express card out and go bang.
I did, and I kind of, I just don't like that myself. And other people might say, you was flashy doing that. I don't care. I just don't, because I've been homeless and because of where I am now. It's like I compliment 3 people every day when I go out. Dopamine's releasing to my brain. Dopamine's releasing to their brain. If you don't believe that, guys, that you can change the world in 4 words, do this next time you're around people. If you see, a lot of people around, look for training shoes are always good. Look for someone with good kicks on. And as they walk past you, go, hey, man, nice kicks. And as he walks past you and he'll go, thank you, man. Turn around and watch him. He's going to look down at his shoes at least 3 times. You've just made his day. Now he goes home to a wife, girlfriend, because he's in a good mood. Now she's in a good mood. Then the mother-in-law call. And it just goes on and on and on. Once you start doing that, and you realize as a human being, one person at a time, that we can change the world. And then what happens is you're gifted for that. Whether it's spirit of the universe, the energy, you're gifted for that, man. It's like you on this podcast. Now, listen, I've got to be careful I say I don't want to come over cocky, but I don't get on anybody's podcast by mistake. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but I'm telling you now, Jermaine, this podcast is how you're going to earn a living in the following years to come. I just know it. We're going to support it. We're going to promote it. You're just such a nice guy. And I've got to tell you right now, I've done thousands of these, thousands of TV things. This is the best podcast I've been on for a long time, man. A long time.
Man, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I do appreciate that.
Man.
I know a lot of people say that. You know what it is? I just speak from the heart. I've just deadly honest. I tell it like it is. And I just try and be honest because I like to give people 100% genuinity, if you know what I mean. Like, some of the words I can't even say right, Rob, you know? Yeah. I try.
We did a scientific, well, not me, Gary Brecker did a scientific test. He's one of my friends. And they wired like 20 people up and sent them in a room. And what they was looking at is looking at the peak of energy that people study. So what the people didn't know is there was 2 mechanics, 2 truck drivers, 2 doctors, and nobody knew what anybody did. But when a truck driver met a truck driver, they spiked on the energy between them because they had a lot of things in common. But what spiked most, and this is really interesting, especially for you, Jermaine, what spiked most in the energy and achievement of the brainwave signals was authenticity. When people are authentic, you're at your best. It's crazy, isn't it?
See, that's the thing. See, I've always been told I'm not good at anything. So that means a lot to me. My mate was on it. My mate, come on, I ain't seen him since school, and he come on last week. And he said the same, but I lost him. He went to the Royal Marines.
Wow.
And then he's speaking to me, and he said it at the end as well. He says, Jermaine, man, you know why you're good for this? Because you care. You listen, you understand, and you ask the right questions. And if you don't know, you blatantly say, what does that mean? Or how does that work? But I'm just trying to give a voice to people, little people like that are struggling, really. And to have the likes of you on, like I say, you're, don't know if I can say a name, but your lady that's been emailing me, it's been amazing. Cool. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just an amazing person. But I just can't believe what you've gone through. I really can't believe what you've gone through, what your ex-family's gone through as well. But you've been man enough to admit that and say that. And I think that's helped with the recovery as well, isn't it? Being able to say that, because there's going to be a lot of people out there that have perhaps done that and are scared to admit that.
Yeah.
They like to keep that sort of stuff locked away, whereas you're crystal clear. And for me, that's a humble thing to do. You're not lying. You're not hiding behind anything. You've told people, look, this is what I did. That's where it got me. This is where it could get you if you carry on down that path. So,
and I think people appreciate that. They often say that I say things what other psychologists are only thinking because they dared say it. I don't give a shit. When I turned 60, Joanne, I didn't give a shit. I used to have to play by the Texas licensing rules and all that shit, the psychology board. And I left that about 2 years ago. And I don't report to anybody apart from my wife and God. It's like, I don't care. I'm the guy pulling up at the traffic lights, in a Bentley, 62 years old. And another guy comes, he's about my age. And I'm playing Jay-Z on the stereo as high as I can. And he's there trying to play some Mozart. I don't give a shit anymore. I really don't. I dress like a 16-year-old sometimes. It's like living life to the full and not giving a shit about what anybody thinks. That's the key to life, because I always used to go out in the mirror, make sure, look how big my arms are. Am I okay to walk in this dance looking good? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I was horrified when I found everyone's got their own shit. Nobody cares. When you walk in the room, like everybody's like, nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit. They've all got their own problems. And when I realised that, it's like a weight off my shoulders. But you accept me for who I am. I'm going to curse. I'm going to say whatever I want. If you don't like it, move on. You know? Yeah. So, you should be saying that on your Facebook. Unfriend me. What are you going to do? Come around and beat me up? I think so.
It's your Facebook as well, though. This is the thing. It's your...
Do that.
People get so thingy about that, though, don't they? They always want to be able to judge you for what you're doing. It's like, is it affecting you? No. Is it going to harm you? No. So what's the issue? Is this jealousy, envy? What's going on right now?
I have a saying.
I must admit, I'm jealous of your arms because I've just started gym and my arms are nowhere near as big as yours. But
nice.
Little cuties.
We have a saying, Jermaine, over here, and that is when the haters start paying my mortgage, I'll start fucking listening to them. Until then, wasting my time, man. Wasting my time.
I like that. Well, the thing is, look, there's an old saying. You obviously know this saying, being an Englishman. I don't know if it's an American saying. I never heard it when I was in America, but in every graveyard, there's a poor man and a rich man, and they can be buried side by side in the same casket, going to the same place. Yeah. So, as long as you're living your life, that's the main thing, Rob.
And helping others. That's what I think the key to life is: living your best life, realizing who you are, realizing how powerful you really. I'm talking to you guys. Realizing how powerful you really are, and then kind of, if you want something, you got to go for it, man. So let's turn to quantum physics really quick. Quantum physics is a proven science. So quantum physics tells me that I can be 12 places on a basketball court at the same time, because nothing's solid. So their theory is I can be 12 places on a basketball court. I've never played basketball, but I'm not stupid. I know that if I'm one near the goal, I get the ball, I put it in the net, I'm going to be ahead of the game. And the guy said to me, can you see yourself there? I said, yeah, I can see myself getting the ball and put it in the net. And then he asked me, how are you going to get there? I said, I don't know. And what he said to me changed my life. He said, walk over and fucking take that position. I'm like, what? He said, walk over and take that position. That's what I tell guys today. Visualize it. Walk over. Oh, you can't really do that, Rob. Says who? Yeah, but you're not. Says who? Yeah, but you're from the race cook. Says who? Says fucking who, guys? Stop listening to these rules that are bullshit to keep you down. Once you start getting away from that cesspit of people that want to keep you down, the quicker you do that, the better. Some people don't want to do anything with their lives. I go back to Manchester like 2 or 3 times a year, Jermaine. I see my same old friends in the same old pubs talking the same old shit, drinking the same old beer. And I'm like, there's a whole world out there, man. But they're happy doing that. But don't drag me down there. I don't play that game anymore. I used to, but I don't play that game. Most of them are divorced. Most of them are like 100 pounds overweight. That's not for me, man. It's not for me.
Well, you've been there, haven't you? You've been there. You've tasted the hangovers every night and the shakes, and then obviously losing your family as well. So you've been through the shit, man. So enjoy what you've got. Enjoy what you got. Right, guys, we are getting towards the end of today's podcast. Just want Rob now to use this space, obviously, just to shout himself out if there's anything that he wants to promote on here, especially that book. I urge anybody to go out there and grab that. So over to you, Rob, my man.
Yeah, Daddy, please stop drinking. If you remember, was the last thing my daughter said to me as they took him away. That's my daughter and that's me. That's my daughter there. So, yeah, buy the book. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. If you want a free copy and you're in the USA, obviously, I'm going to send you one, Jermaine. I'll get Courtney to get your details.
I appreciate that.
RobbKelly.com is the website. I spell one over 2 B's in case you're listening and not watching and can see my name. RobbKelly.com is the website. Jump on there. There's loads of stuff. But listen, guys, I want to get real because I want to prove to you that I'm not just a gobshite. I want to prove to you, and I could do it on Only the Best podcast. So listen, guys, if you're listening to this wherever you are, first of all, you are meant to listen to it. But listen, if you're in that place where I was, if you're in a place where you're thinking of suicide, desperation, you're never going to amount to anything, okay, find the area code. I don't know what it is from England, I forget. 214-600-0210 is my personal cell phone number. You can text from the UK. If you text me, I will call you back as soon as I can. I'll give you a 15-minute pep talk that will change your life. And if I don't, I'm going to send you personally £100 for wasting your time. The moral and the message in that is you're not on your own. And people like me are never too big, to help other people. If you only have email, you can't afford to text USA, ROBB@ROBBKELLY.com. RobertRobbKelly.com is my email. Send some stuff over, we'll support you, we'll help you, I'll call you, I'll walk you through this, man, because like I say, you can do this together. You're never on your own. And as you, Jermaine, man, if there's anything we can help you, plus whatever you've got to do, man, we got to raise your platform, man. I'd love to do that. I'm going to get Courtney to get all your details. But listen, thank you for what you do, Jermaine. I mean,
thank
this
you.
is awesome, man. We know this can be a lonely journey. You work all day, you come home, you do this, and I'm telling you what, I have this knack of spotting champions. Over 8,000 patients, I've never been wrong. I'm sat in front of a podcast empire guy right now. I guarantee that I'm going to put some money where that mouth is when we do our tax returns. But I thank you so much. It's a pleasure and honor.
I appreciate that.
And
it's just weird you just said that.
If you're an AA guy and I've said something that upsets you guys, I really want to tell you this. Call your freaking sponsor and put me down on your 10-step because I don't give a shit.
I was going to say, it's weird what you just said because my daughter's in the living room with me over there and she's like, look at all this stuff. Because I've got literally, I don't know if you can see this, but I've got lighting up as well. Because I want it to look right, if you know what I mean. I put a lot into this. So, no, Rob, thank you, mate. And I will put all the stuff in the show notes, guys, for you to contact Rob as well if you do need to speak to him. Real genuine guy. Do go over, do check out his website. And if you are in need, who better to go to than Dr. Robb Kelly? Thanks for being here, Rob.
That's great. Thank you.
Thanks, guys, for joining me on this week's episode with me and Luke. If you're to contact me or get in touch with me, shall I say, then hit me up at Facebook at My Life, My Journey Podcast, or on Instagram at MyLife_My Journey Podcast. We're now on YouTube and also on all of the major podcasting platforms. So please do get in touch, rate, review, and subscribe. Until then, see you all next week.